The Lynching is a poem by Claude McKay that describes the horror and injustice of a lynching. It is the inhuman way of killing someone. Claude McKay uses the event of a black man being lynched to highlight the racism and gruesome acts of violence committed against blacks in America during the early 20th century. On the night of lynching, speaker describes the smoke rising from the victim's corpse. The poem first opens by describing the spirituality experienced by the victim. In the first 4 lines of the poem, McKay describes the relationship between God and the victim. The victim ascends to heaven while being welcomed by his father. In contrast, it seems that God rejects those who lynched the man by calling their crime an awful sin that remains still unforgiven. There is no forgiveness, according to McKay, for those who participated in the lynching. Their crimes are too cruel for even God to forgive them, possibly because they themselves have no remorse for their wrongdoings. Any human who willingly harms another human being because of racism, according to McKay, has no place in heaven. Then McKay goes on to describe how the community viewed the lynching. He gives a chilling image of children dancing around the dead man in fiendish glee. McKay uses this image in order to emphasize that the children are being desensitized to these horrific crimes. This process of desensitization will surely bring danger for future generations of blacks in America, argues McKay. These children have had no chance to not be racist because they had already become lynchers to be. Additionally, McKay uses the physical description of the women in the crowd to emphasize the differences between blacks and whites during that time. McKay describes the women's eyes as being steely blue, to highlight the reason behind what their hatred really stems from: different physical traits. Their blue eyes are emotionless, and like the children, they have become desensitized to the severity of the lynching. These blue eyes are not seen as being beautiful but instead lifeless. They are as lifeless as the victim himself, which highlights the idea of them having physical superiority over blacks seem even more illegitimate. The ending states that this culture will continue the cycle of violence. McKay wants his readers to understand that societal beliefs and customs are not always what is best or right.